What's up, big bro?
All right, didn't see you there.
All right, well, explain what you got. Marine Corps.
All right, my name is Mason Weezy, Freedom graduate of 2018. I'm a U.S. Marine. I'm stationed in 29 Palms, and I went to boot camp at MCRD San Diego.
All right, Mason. Explain the process of boot camp, how it went.
All right, so basically, you go down to a little thing called MEPS, which is like Military Entrance Program. Military Entrance Processing Center. That is down in Milwaukee. And from there, you basically take a flight from there, and you go straight to San Diego. And from there, the drill instructors will actually meet you at the airport, and you all get on a bus, and they're going to bring you straight to boot camp. And as soon as you get there, you go on these like yellow footprints, and that basically starts your process of becoming a Marine. From there, the first week you're there, you pretty much just do it's like receiving. You're starting to get issued all your clothing. You get taught like how to make your rack, all this other stuff. Rack is like code for like bed in the military.
All right.
But anyway, then after that, that first Friday that you get there, it's called a Black Friday, and there is when you get to your actual your platoon and your company. I was Bravo Company platoon 1030, and from there, that Black Friday is when you get to meet your drill instructors that you're going to have for the rest of boot camp. From there on out, you're pretty much with those drill instructors for the rest of the 13 weeks. Then like the first like couple of weeks, you just start having like some classes. You do some MCMAP, which is Marine Corps Martial Arts Program. And by the end of boot camp, you actually become a tan belt in MCMAP. So you start doing that. You do basic first aid, leadership and core values, a lot of discipline. You start doing drill, which is like marching pretty much.
All right.
And then pretty much throughout all that, you go into like phase 2, you do swim week, you do then towards the end of boot camp, you start going into like more rifle range stuff and going on hikes, and it's more like of being like more of like an infantry marine. And then towards the end of boot camp, you go what's called the Crucible, and the Crucible is a 3-day basic test of everything you've learned throughout your entire boot camp. It's a 54-hour event of you just sleeping in the field. Well, not very much sleeping, because I think throughout all of it, I had 4 hours of sleep during those 3 days. You have 3 MREs, which are meals ready to eat, and you hike over 80 miles, I believe we hiked. But you don't sleep, you don't eat. It's just all hiking and like training events. Then after you finish the Crucible, the way you finish the Crucible is by going to the top of called the Reaper. It's a mountain. You have to climb that on your last day. And when you do that, at the top of the mountain, they do the transformation to become a Marine. And then the last 2 weeks is just preparatory for you to for your graduation. Once you graduate, you move on to your next schooling.
All right. Other than the Crucible, which week was the hardest for you?
I wouldn't say it was a single week that was hard. It was probably just one day that really sucked. Probably the worst day for me was the gas chamber.
The gas chamber.
The gas chamber. A little bit about that is I don't exactly remember the exact gas that we were put in, but it's essentially, I think it's tear gas. But you have to go in there with your gas mask, and they make you take off your gas mask entirely in that gas chamber, and they basically tell you have to like suffer through it in order to like make it through and test you out.
And how long did that take?
That was only like I think I was in the actual gas chamber for about 15 to 20 minutes.
All right, that's all right. Were there any troubles with your platoon in there?
Yeah, actually, my rack mate or my bunk mate at boot camp, he was right next to me when we went into the gas chamber, and he had been sick all throughout boot camp pretty much, but he was just trying to like toughen it up. And we got in there, and the gas must have like, got to him, and he started bleeding out of his nose and his mouth, and like into his gas mask. And so his gas mask started actually filling up with blood, and so he actually had to vet him out early. So he had to get seen by the medical people.
All right. Did you have any fun parts about boot camp? Was there any fun things you did?
Yeah, a couple of fun things that we did. I liked some of the like the rappelling, like the rappel tower was pretty fun. Doing McMath was pretty fun, and then also doing it's called Pugil sticks, but it's basically like a long stick or whatever. And you put on like a football helmet and a flak jacket, and you basically use that as protection, and you just try to hit the other opponent, like and quote unquote kill them with one end of the sticks,
Huh.
and it's basically just like a battle.
Right.
Pretty fun.
Sweet. And sleeping. How'd sleeping go? Like how'd that work out?
Every single night, at I believe it was around 9 o'clock, um, we held what was called lights out, and as soon as lights went out, everybody had to like go to bed, and if you were like up out of your rack and stuff, like that wasn't good. Like you weren't allowed to get out of your rack unless you were on fire watch, which is people like roving around the squad bay, um, just basically making sure nothing's going wrong. And that's like hour at a time. People had to do that, so there would probably be four fire watch on a time, and they would pretty much just watch the place.
All right. Were there any points where you thought you weren't gonna make it through, or you want to drop out at even?
There are a lot of guys who did have points like that. There's a few who actually did just drop out because they didn't want to do it anymore. But me personally, I had my mind set on it, and nothing was going to change my mind, no matter how hard it got.
All right. Sweet. How about family wise? How did that go for you?
I miss my family a lot. Uh, that was probably the number one thing that I thought about most of the time was just missing family and friends. But that was also kind of like my motivation was because I got to do this for them now. It's like I don't got to prove to them, but I want to make them proud. I don't want to go to boot camp and then drop out, and then it's like, oh, that's for nothing, you know?
All right.
But yeah,
How about was there any points where you were challenged to a point where it was almost not okay for your body? It was almost impossible for you to do.
once again, probably the Crucible. By the end of the Crucible, my feet were dead raw. I was starved. I was sleep deprived, and then when you're starved and sleep deprived, and then you're told, "Hey, now you gotta go climb that mountain with a 70-pound pack on your back," it's just like you don't want to move. But then they tell you it's like you get to the top of that mountain, you're a Marine. So that was just kind of like that one thing that was the only thing that was pushing me on. I was like, I got to do this now.
That's awesome. All right, Mason, that's all I got for you. Thank you.